I'm so excited to introduce you to Stephanie, the founder of How2Mom. She's a mom educator and total game changer when it comes to helping women feel prepared in pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. Stephanie created How2Mom, the kind of support system she wishes she had, one that's real, relatable, and gives moms the tools they need to feel confident in such a life-changing season. Today, we are going to talk about what it's really like to grow her business over the last year, not just through blogging and SEO, but through ongoing retainer support. We're talking about systems, content, tech, pivots, and what changes when you stop trying to do it all yourself. So, whether you're craving more breathing room or just wondering if support like this would actually make a difference, we are going to get into it. I am on a journey to get better in all areas of my life, and I want to do it with you. Welcome to the Being Better Everyday podcast, where we dig deep into all the things a millennial mom needs to know. From how to juggle your passions with your full-time job, to asking the hard questions about hormones and health, and learning from one another along the way. I am Julie Wenslick, and as a mom, business owner, and corporate girly, sometimes life can feel like a lot. So join me in the journey of being better every day, where we create habits and routines that support your life, create calm in the chaos, and put the you back in your everyday. Grab those headphones, put on your shoes, and join me on a walk while we get started with today's episode. So today, again, welcome Stephanie from How2Mom. Let's give a little background on you, your business, how long you've been doing this, and what you specialize in.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Julie, and thanks to all those listening today. Like Julie said, my name is Stephanie Sinclair. I founded How2Mom in 2015, so we've been in business for just over 10 years now, which has gone pretty quickly. But it's like motherhood, right? It's like the days are long, but the years are short. I can't believe we've been doing this for 10 years. We are a Twin Cities birth agency. And like Julie said, we offer in person support through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. But we also have additional services for lactation support, childbirth education, placenta encapsulation, and so many more things. But we do a lot of our work as well on the digital side of things. So, although we have this in person support, we really wanted to create How2Mom as this home, this hub, this one stop shop for families so that they feel like they're supported through all avenues of parenthood, whether that be through education, whether that be through community, or like we talked about, our in person support services that we offer. And we've been growing, like I said, for 10 years. I mimic it much like my motherhood journey. I say that How2Mom's my fourth baby. And there have been years where we've had a lot of growth, and there have been other years where it's been a little bit slower, but more of those foundational years. I would say probably the first 7 years of business, I just was fitting it in kind of
Today.
the nooks and cracks of the day through motherhood while being home with my three kids. So whether that be like 5 a.m. in the morning, nap time, or 9 p.m. at night. But my goal was always to set and create enough of a foundation, a successful enough business, so that once all of my kids were school aged, I could continue with this career and with this business versus going back to corporate America. So I feel very successful in terms of we were able to do that. But it was about around the same time that I met Julie, and maybe didn't start working together right at that moment. But soon after, I was like, okay, now that this is super full time and now that we have all this room and time to grow, I was like, I need help.
Well, I think it was on the marketing side of things that really prompted you to reach out, right? When you were looking to launch your courses last year. Is that correct?
Well, honestly, like it first started through you creating and designing my
Planners. Yeah.
planner. Yeah.
Correct. Okay, before that, right?
Yeah.
Which
Like
you
this.
still use, like, how many years later?
Which
So
I still use, I still love. And the reason why is because it's so unique to be a doula. Our lifestyle, our schedule, like everything is so different than any other kind of field or career out there. So it was really fun to create a planner where it was like, this is important for us. And now being able to have that, year after year, month after month. But It was through honestly, it was through those just, like, sincere, genuine conversations with you about my planner. Like, you could have just been like, "Okay, give me a list of what you want," and that be it, but we had, like, conversations. You were really trying to understand my lifestyle. You were trying to understand my field and career, that I was like, "Wow, I really wanna, like, work with this woman as much as possible," and it just kinda grew from there.
Yeah, I mean, I think of so we've been working together on retainer for about a a year, maybe a
Mhm.
little bit over a year at
A little
this
bit
point,
over. Yep.
and when you first reached out, the main goal was to create basically make your course presentations, workbooks, etc. pretty. Like that
Exactly.
was that was the main choice, and it's definitely ebbed and flowed and gone a million different directions from there. And I think having an online business myself and also kind of a systems queens with the planner side of things,
Mhm.
like I
Mhm.
definitely just see where I'm like, okay, where can we make this more efficient?
Yes.
So, consistent things that we've done over the last year and even preparing for this, I'm like, I feel like we have so much more to go that I feel like we're just still
Getting
cracking the
started.
surface.
Mhm. Agreed. But we've
Um,
done a lot.
yeah, true. So, blogging and SEO,
Mhm.
Pinterest kind of.
Mhm.
Ultimately, the way that we work together is I set Stephanie a set number of hours per month.
Mhm.
And ideally, that would have encompassed Pinterest, but ultimately everything else kind of eats up the Pinterest hours, so it
Yeah.
doesn't
Had
work.
to take a back seat.
Yes, we've set up and launched a new email system for you,
Mhm.
created email system workflows and sequences and welcome sequences, relaunched and again, I'm like, but we still have more to do on that side, the freebie side of things. For those listening, I will link it, but we did, and I'm still very proud of the email sequence side of this, but we did a email sequence and masterclass on preparing for pregnancy. So kind of think of that like what's that book called? What to expect when you're expecting
Mhm.
concept. So you opt in around the month you are pregnant
Mhm.
and then you get an email specific to where you're at in your pregnancy, as well as a masterclass and links to all the previous emails in case you miss one or I don't know, randomly selected the wrong month, I guess. So that is, I'll link it in the show notes, but that's again,
Or
if
if you're
you
just
are,
curious what they talked about at, first,
yeah,
second,
that's true.
third.
So they're all linked in each month when they come through. We are working on setting up a CRM system, and we'll get into that too, because again, as Stephanie said, she was 7 years in business before
Believe it or
having
not.
the system side of things automated anyway. Obviously, you had
Yeah.
systems on your own. And then graphic design help. We've set up ThriveCart, which is where your courses are
Mhm.
housed. We've done website management, sales
Mhm.
pages. Again, have a lot to go there too.
Mhm.
And ultimately, like one of my goals is to really dig in to the SEO side of things. Obviously, that's a huge passion of mine now on the podcast too. But it always just depends on the hours in the month and
Yeah.
what we can get to.
Yeah,
So,
and I know
oh,
that
go
we
ahead.
do have a long list of things to do, but we really have done a lot, and I think where a lot of people will be able to relate listening to this podcast is I, of course, knew my niche. I knew what I was here to do. Like, the hands on the ground work was being a doula. And I was able to grow kind of that community and kind of that interest, but at a slower pace and more so just through learning as I went and like would watch. And that's the hard part too. There's not a lot of doula businesses
That
that
are training.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like do what we do on the online front. And so I would find other kind of influencers online that just had an online business, and I would try and do both, where it's like, okay, we're a doula agency, and that's really kind of our niche. But how do we grow on the online side of things? And so I would just kind of try and teach myself. And I think what I was doing is I was understanding just a fraction of all of these places that we were showing up. And it was somewhat beneficial, but definitely not to the magnitude where we're at with Julie's help, right? It's like I knew blogging was important, and so we would blog, but that was only really helpful to be able to send to people like our clients to say, hey, read this blog post that we put up there. But nobody else was able to find those blog posts from just searching on Google. And so I think what I really love and appreciate about you, Julie, and just like your personality and why I think we work so well together is you're very like open and honest. And I hope and think that I have been like, yes, like tell me the places that we can improve and I am not offended, right? And I just remember so many times
Yeah, you have said that.
you were like, so so you've been doing this, you've been sending out these emails manually for 10 years. And I'm like, mm-hmm. And you're like, girl, do you know how much time you could save? And again, like I was feeling overwhelmed because all of these small little tasks were taking up so much of my time that I never had time to do a new project or to get those courses launched. Like if the idea was there, I'm such an idea person and I would work on it, but I never had time. And you were like, yeah, that's because you're doing everything manually
Right.
when all of this could be automated. And I'm like, well, help me. Let's do that. That sounds great. But as an entrepreneur, you're just head down and nobody
Yeah.
teaches you and nobody trains you. If you're determined and motivated enough, you just keep going, even when you're like, why am I doing this? It has been such a blessing to be able to keep doing what we're doing, but with Julie's help to grow, to reach way more people, to get our content out there. And here's the thing, I always was worried about saving money, right? Like,
Yeah.
especially those first 5, 7 years, I was making money, but I wasn't netting a lot of money. So it was like so nerve wracking to invest at all. But then I realized I'm like, I am spending, say, 20 hours on something that Julie can do in 4. It's like, do the math. It's
Right.
worth investing. It's like, that is why you have professionals and experts to help build your business. And so it's
Well,
been a
I
relief.
mean, I still like and again, we have a long way to go on implementing Dubsado. It is a beast, and it's not my
Mhm,
favorite thing to do either, but I'm less than a year in and no, I'm more than a year, whatever. I'm a year and a half into doing web design and SEO and branding
mhm.
and all the things, and, like, that was one of the things I immediately did because I was like, "I don't wanna have to send a contract manually. It is not my jam."
Right.
And and so I think about I don't even know how many people I don't know if you have a count of how many people you've served, but if you do that, multiply it by the time of amount of emails you have and invoices,
Yeah.
like,
A
yeah,
lot.
it's just it does and I just had another entrepreneur message me today, and she's like, "I'm going to start saving up to do this because I know it's an important priority, but it is really hard when you're starting out and you can't do it all at
Mhm,
once." And, it's kinda is that baby steps method
mhm,
of things. So my hope is that even through, like, the podcast and social, like and
mhm.
obviously, I'm not an expert in all these things either. I'm just kind of like trial and error. I've figured it out and I'm gonna help. I have one of those personalities where I'm, as you know, you'll come to me with an idea or Thrivecart. I'd never touched Thrivecart, and I'm like,
Mhm,
"I'll figure it out."
mhm.
That's just my personality.
Well, and your brain just works in that way, and you have such a skill set that I might be determined, but I don't have that skill set. And like my brain doesn't necessarily
Right.
work that way, which is why I'm like on the ground at these births because like that's where I shine. Like that is where that's what I'm built to do. That's what I'm here to do. And so I will say I do believe that it's all in good timing and it all is um happens at the right time, but if I could go back, building my own website, yes, I did the best that I could and it worked good enough. But
It's still
now
working. It's 10 years later.
it's still working, but now we're having to kind of backpedal, right? Of like, okay, you have this page up here, but like it's not SEO friendly. Now, we have to implement this, we have to change things around. And if you're listening and you're just starting out with your business, I would strongly urge you to just take a minute and like consider the investment and the payoff, right? Like I feel like we probably could have grown a lot faster and been a lot
Mhm.
bigger at this point if we would have invested. And so it all depends on like where you're at in life and where you're at in business. But I do wish that we would have found you earlier. So if you are new and listening, like, take my advice. I wish I would have done it sooner because now we're kind of having to like backtrack, but it's still such a blessing, and I'm so glad to just see the changes in our business from what you're implementing. It's been amazing.
And it's very common. I would say my most right now in PW designs, my most 2 common subsets of web design clients are either I've had my website for a year
Mhm.
and no one's finding me, or it's just kind of like not how I want it to look, or I'm just starting out. Like
Mhm.
those tend to be the 2 people that are finding me or I'm working with the most common.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of people that I'm working with that are a year or 2 in that I'm completely changing their website and platform at this
Mhm.
point is they're not too far into it,
Yeah.
that it's like this massive overhaul, right? I think we've talked about, yeah, if you could start over, there would be a lot of things you would change, but at this point, you're 10 years in,
Mhm.
like, we are gonna go with it.
Yeah.
Um,
We're not
and
transferring 300 blogs.
I can see that side of it. It is worth the investment up front to find somebody who can help you with all the things to get you started in the right way.
Just like finding people that are experts in those areas, because that's not can't be the expert in every area. And so it's really nice to be able to bring people in to help you with that. It makes a huge difference. And we've been able to see that full circle this last year.
So, you mentioned it already with blogging. You've been blogging for however long?
Actually, about so we transferred over to WordPress after I had the twins because I was home with them their first year of life. I only attended a handful of births just because I was breastfeeding.
And
And
they're
that
twins, so
Yeah, and they're twins, and they just turned 8, and it was that first year that I was like, "Okay, we have to." I was with Wix was my first
Oh,
website,
I didn't know
and
that.
so I transferred over to WordPress because A, I wanted to be able to blog, and B, I knew that in the future there was going to continue to be growth, and so I wanted a platform that we could build. Obviously, a lot of other platforms have come out now that might be a better option, but
But back
WordPress.
then, WordPress was the gold standard.
Yep. So we've been blogging now for 8 years.
Okay, so, like you mentioned, I think and I did this with my planner business, right? Your blogs, I would say for, a number of years have been I'm writing about something that either my clients are asking about, I'm passionate about, or I need the resource for my clients,
Mhm.
but there wasn't a lens of, "Can somebody find this blog?"
Not at all.
So, now that we've been and I would say we've really in the last 6 months started to really focus in on blogging and SEO as far as making sure they're researched and keyword optimized and, um, so in the last however long we've been working together on it, what has really solidified for you on the blogging side of things? What have you learned? Just how do you feel about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, so much about SEO. I had heard that acronym and I knew what it stood for, but I had no idea how to implement. I had no idea how it worked. I had no idea how it connected with Google. I had no idea how people found you through SEO. And so we've been able to take these blog posts that are packed full of really great information and optimize it using keyword research that Julie does, and making sure that our headers are appropriate, and making sure that any images are searchable, and just kind of the flow. An added perk to all of that, too, right, is not only are people able to find your website or first find this blog post that they're searching for, they're looking for information and research on, but then if it has your brand within it, if you are smart about the flow of the blog and maybe different ads or different segments that talk about how to mom or your business, then all of a sudden they're going to click and say, "Oh, I wonder what services they provide." So that's been obviously huge. But then now, since we have all of these amazing online courses, we have been able to include that in all of our blogs. So somebody who is like literally just searching for, let's say, for example, products I might need if I have a scheduled C section coming up, all of a sudden are like, oh my gosh, there's a course that talks about preparing for postpartum, specifically if I'm recovering from a C section. I might be interested in that. Oh, wait, doulas support cesarean births? Like, I might be interested in that. And so it's just been so cool to see like these full circle moments, like whether somebody we've never met, we've never talked to, it's not a direct referral, they either A, sign up for our course, and through our course then say, "Hey, we actually are interested in doula services now, from this course and learning why that's beneficial," or vice versa. They're a birth doula client of ours and we're like, "Hey, childbirth education is really important." And that's another sales funnel, right? To say like, "Take this course, we recommend it anyway, but hey, take the course through How to Mom." And so it's just really beautiful to have all of these different funnels and they all make sense. And Julie's been able to make all of these different funnels like flow together. And so I will say, probably within the last 6 months, I get so excited anytime we have a lead that comes in because I will say probably 90% of our leads, the previous years were direct referrals. My girlfriend or my family member used you as their doula and they loved you, which of course we love those referrals and they're very flattering and they mean a lot to us. But to get these leads and it says, "I found you on Google. I
Did
found
you
you on,"
I didn't know this.
oh my gosh, yeah,
Oh.
Google. "I found you on
Yay.
Google. I found you on Instagram. I found you
Yeah.
through your course." Like, to see the variety now of where these clients are coming in, they have no idea. It's like,
Mm.
I'll sit down on an interview and I'm like, "Can you remind me, how you heard of How to Mom?" They're like, "I just Googled like Twin Cities doula." And I'm like, "Oh my
Yay, which is one of the
God.
keywords we added, so,
This
yeah.
is amazing." Like, such a missing piece of the puzzle for so many years that now that I'm seeing it, it's just like, it's so exciting. I know the benefit and I have really loved working with Julie. And I'll say too, even if it might not be something that we've even talked about in terms of a project. But what's cool is like you have this bird's eye view, right? You have this person who's digging in and looking at all of the pieces of your business. And Julie would come to me and she would say, like, "Hey, I noticed on your Google search that this is there. Did you mean to have that there or did you want to have something else there?" And it might not even be something that she's wanting to do or selling to do. It doesn't feel like that ever. But what's so cool is I get this bird's eye view and I'm like, "I never thought about that." Or, "Yeah, I know that's there. I just don't know how to fix it." And she's like, "Well, we should probably fix that." And I'm like, "That would be amazing." But so that all of that has been really great. But I will tell you, if we didn't have the relationship that we have, and I just feel really lucky because I feel like we mesh and vibe really well together. But say we didn't have that, take that out of it. Seeing the results, it's clear as day that the investment has been worth it, on top of like obviously enjoying working together and feeling like there's been so many avenues that I didn't even think that we were going to work on.
Like, none of the a lot of the stuff that we've done is, like, not planned.
No, and it just
"Hey,
like
let's
has
do
come
this."
up. And
Yeah.
I have this like everlasting to-do list that I've kept over the last 10 years of my business, just jotting things down. Like, one day I want to do this. One day I want to do that. Like, I want to meet you for happy hour and bring this to-do list. And I want to see how many things we can like check off the list because I think it's going to be quite a bit, if not like all.
Sorry to interrupt this episode, but quick question. Do you actually know if your website is doing what it's supposed to do? Like, is Google even noticing you? If you're not sure, you need my free SEO monitoring tools guide. It'll show you exactly what tools to set up, how to track your site's performance, and the stuff that actually matters. Don't worry, no tech degree required. Grab it now at buypwdesigns.com/SEO-monitoring-tools. And if you don't remember that URL, it's in the show notes. And yes, it's totally free. So go get it and let's make sure your site isn't just sitting there collecting dust or acting like a business card that isn't getting results. So, on the blogging
Well,
side of
that's
things,
why we're here.
on the blogging side of things though, I think the other cool thing is what we've really, and I think I've talked about this in other episodes too, but if you're an entrepreneur who has been blogging for a long time,
Mhm.
your old blogs Google loves when you update those as much as writing new content. And
Mhm.
that's, I think, another thing that we focused on, and it's really fun to see a blog go from no traffic or no impressions on Google Search Console to after we've updated it, actually getting organic traffic and people finding you. Like
Yeah.
that, I send you screenshots all the time of that. I think that's one of my favorite things too, is like taking a blog that has great content, but maybe not great SEO structure, just fixing the SEO side of it, and all of a sudden you're getting organic search out of it.
Yeah.
So
Amazing to see, and I was so worked up about, the differences of hiring somebody and working with somebody versus just being on social media and trying to gather information and do it yourself. I kept hearing consistency, like, if you want brands to work with you, consistency. So I was so obsessed of, like, I need to publish a new blog every week. I
Mhm.
had it ingrained in my brain. Every week, it didn't matter what it was, I just needed to get some kind of content out there, and we had a lot of discussions of, like, well, let's think about this. Like, if you're just putting content out to put content out and it's not going anywhere, you're not
What's the
getting any
point?
traffic, you're not getting any customers, you're not getting any clients. Like, what's the point? Versus saying, like, we have all of this content that we've already worked on. Now let's optimize. Like, let's get it out there. And so it's just been so many mind shifts. It's been so
Mhm.
many, like, okay, this isn't working. Let's try something else and see if this works now. And then for me to be able to see it, it's like that reassurance of, I don't know what I'm doing in that area. And this is why you have people on your team that do know. And so, yeah, it's been so fun, especially blogs that I'm like really passionate about. And I'm like, people need to know this information. And now
Right.
people get to see it.
Well, and again, that goes to you're right, like, we cut your blogging down significantly the last couple of months, and it doesn't shift where you're starting like, you're getting more impressions now than you ever were. Click-throughs is hard because of the world of AI that is shifting the market, but,
Mhm.
again, we're growing and seeing the stuff that we are posting or optimizing changing and getting impressions and getting organic search.
And I would
And
say more inquiries.
yeah, and again, like, we're blogging maybe twice a month right now,
Mhm,
maybe,
mhm.
whereas you were doing it weekly before. It takes the pressure off of you too, right? It's not, "Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh, I need to come up with something right away." Stephanie does have an amazing resource directory, specifically mostly for the Twin Cities, right? Some are virtual, so it kinda depends, but, like, mental health practitioners,
Mhm.
chiropractic care, what else is in those categories?
Acupuncturists, mental health therapists, nutritionists, other lactation specialists, occupational therapists. Like, here's the thing, it takes a village. And when people hear that with parenthood and motherhood, when they hear it takes a village, they automatically think family. Like, oh, yeah, family. It's like, Whole maybe for some, and that would be beautiful, but we're talking about a professional village, right? Like, when we are pregnant and we're preparing for birth and we're preparing for postpartum and taking care of an infant, like, there are so many new parts of that journey that we haven't experienced before. And so when we are your doula, or even if you're just a part of our community, we mean it when we say we want to be a one stop shop. And that doesn't mean that we're the expert in everything that you need, but you better believe that we will get you in contact with somebody who we know, we trust. They're a professional, they have dedicated their teachings and everything to women in pregnancy and birth. And so that's really where that resource directory started from, is because we love partnering. It's a huge part of our job, it's a huge part of the work that we do. And it was like, how do we make this, from the forefront of things, look like we have a whole team waiting to help you?
And it's funny because this is the type of voice memos that go back and forth between the 2 of us is my brain is like, "Why don't we have a section for massage therapists who have specific training for prenatal?" For sure.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot out there,
Yeah, I've
believe it
worked
or
with, like, 3 of them in the last 6 months, so I'm like, "Wait a minute."
well, there's a ton of massage therapists for sure.
No, that specialize, I'm saying. Like, I
Yeah,
have
no, we have a lot of area to grow on that resource
so
directory.
I'm like, "Wait a minute, we need this." Anyway,
Yeah,
uh
full of ideas constantly in our box, in our Voxer inbox.
but where I was going with that is it's been also then we've been able to take those resource directory individuals get a spotlight on the blog and taking those. it's been fun to even see the proof in the pudding of having those people get organic traffic to their blogs too.
Mhm.
And we have one posting, it'll post by the time this podcast comes out, about chiropractic care for prenatal chiropractic care. And we're able to, again, blog strategy, right? Internally link other related chiropractic care blogs and their resource directory and their website and get them the promotional eyes that they deserve as well.
Not only, I think, obviously extremely beneficial for them, and that's a part of the partnership that we have, but they might not have an SEO friendly website. And so then they're able to see the magic of that as well. But what thought was really cool, and I don't know if I shared with you, I know I did with Nikki, that one of our subscribers sent out a newsletter the other day, which I'm subscribed to, and I got it and I'm reading it and catching up on what's going on in her field and with her business. And then all of a sudden there's our blog posts
Oh,
linked in
nice.
her newsletter. And it's like, you hear a lot of talk about backlinks
Yep.
and why that is so helpful. And so now not only are we promoting, but then now we have other people promoting and people sending their subscribers to our website. So it's just a really cool kind of, yeah,
You're
way
building your
to,
own network.
yeah, exactly. That was really fun.
So, ultimate goals, where I feel like it's gonna take a while, but, like, once we get everything implemented, right? Once your client onboarding system is automated, I mean,
Mhm.
just that alone, the amount of hours you're gonna get back, where do you see How to Mom headed next? What are you excited about?
You know, I go back and forth about this, but I do think a big reason for starting this business, aside from being very passionate about it, was to be able to be a provider, for my family. That has been amazing to see and to continue to grow and to be able to provide. But now I would like to get some time back, right? I would like to be able to spend more time with my kids or less time working, and not necessarily less time like being at births, but less time sitting behind the
Admin.
computer, the
Yeah.
admin side of things. So it's like, if I'm not at a birth, am I really able to like optimize the time that I have at home with my kids? I would love to just be able to support more families, reach more families to get them the education, and it be a really beautiful passive income, right? So, like with the courses, obviously, that work is already done. And so, how do we continue to grow that funnel so that that income is just continuous and not something that I have to be behind the computer actively working on. And so we want to optimize as much as we can on the Dubsado front so that we just have a really great system for note keeping. Our team, we work together sometimes for clients. And so to be able to have access to all of these amazing forms that we have and information about our clients so that regardless of who joins them during their birth, they have all of the same information. I would love to continue to grow our team and work more hours doing that versus maybe taking as many primary clients and just continue to grow not only the community and the client base side of things, but also the team. And so being able to provide doulas who love what they do and are just naturally good at supporting birth and babies and postpartum moms to say, like, you don't have to do the business side of things. You don't have to
Right.
know how to find clients. You don't have to know how to collect funds and get in, intake information. Like, let our systems do that for you so that you can just be on the ground, going to work, doing what you love, and getting paid for it. And so we have a lot of dreams of where we're going. And sometimes I know it can feel overwhelming, not only for me, but for Julie as well. But I feel like we're both in it for the long haul. We are getting somewhere, and every day, every week, every month, we're getting further. And I'm just really excited to see, maybe as I'm getting a little bit older, to be able to step back, but still have the successful business and continue to grow this legacy to be able to pass on to my kids or maybe one day sell. I don't know.
Well, and I think the thing that I loved working with you is, I'm very transparent of, like, I'm not an expert in XYZ,
Mhm.
right? Like, I'm willing to figure it out. I am very quick at figuring things out, and you've been Like, I'm not a Dubsado expert. I've had somebody help me figure out my Dubsado, and I'm still implementing my own. But because I'm in it in my own business, I know how to be in it in your business. And I've at this point know your business so well that I'm like, I
Yes.
can, I can do that.
Yes.
Or like Thrivecart. I had never touched Thrivecart. And I was like, but it seems simple enough. So you've been really good about understanding that, yeah, you could hire someone else. I highlight if you're really, if you have the funds to hire a Dubsado implementation specialist, like
Mhm.
they obviously will do a better job than I am, right? But it's the point of at this point, I'm in your business
Yeah.
and I'm really what you would almost call like an OBM, right? A operations business manager of just like,
100%.
here's a system, let's implement it. And then eventually we will only be focusing on the SEO side of things and the
Yeah.
blogging and updating the website, which I'm really excited about. Just again, continuing to grow things.
But I would maybe have to disagree a little bit. First of all, I am much more of the type of person where you got to vibe with the people that you work with. You have to respect one another. I am much more concerned about personality traits. Like, I'm not the best in all the areas either, but guess what? Like, I am determined AF. Like, I will
Mm,
succeed. I will figure it out. This will be a success. Like, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right. And I feel like you have those same personality traits.
yeah.
Like, even if you're like, I've never done this before, but like, I'm going to figure it out. It's kind of a challenge and it's going to be fun. We have in the past hired people that have a specific niche and say, like, this is what I do all day, every day, and it's going to be X amount of funds. And it's quite high, right? Because they feel they are the expert in that area. And yes, while sometimes that can be a benefit, do your research, right? Like, really, really consider and follow your intuition. I never really had success with that. It's like, because then all of a sudden you have these like super high expectations. What is really different and unique, and like you said, why what means so much to me is like, our business is not easy to understand. And we dealt with that with our attorney as well, right? To like write all these contracts. He's like, trying to understand, first of all, like, what is a doula, what it is that we do, how we collect, our fees. It's very unique. It's not like any other job out there. And so it is a huge benefit that our business and you have been able to like dissect it and figure it out. And so that's going to put you well above anybody I would sit down with who probably wouldn't even take enough time with me to figure out what it is that we do. And then we would get a product and we would say, this isn't even what we need it for. This isn't the intent. To me, that doesn't bother me at all because I feel like we work so well together. You have the personality traits that far exceeds any like expertise. It's just been a great way. And I want to say too, like, you've always been really great to help us figure out what works with our budget, right? Of course,
Yeah.
I would love to do 40 hours a month, but we have found a place where it's like, this feels good for you. I can do enough where we are getting somewhere, but it's also affordable and works within our business. The only time I ever am worried is when I feel like you're getting too busy because I'm like, don't get too busy for me. I want to keep I'm gonna want to keep growing our hours, so don't like get too busy. I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm selfish like that though.
You're not the first person that said that too.
I'm sure not.
And I mean, I think, and obviously retainer isn't, you're my only client that I do this for, right?
Yeah,
Like everyone else, it's project based, it's
yeah,
a web design project and it's a SEO. But I truly, I mean, even, I don't think I've told you this, but when I was in college, close to 15, 20 years ago at this point, like I was an assistant manager for an interior design firm. And this is literally, that's what I dreamed about doing when I was working there, was going into the weeds of their business, organizing it, putting systems in place. Like my core of P&W designs, obviously it still fits with the planner side of it. So it is something every small business that I've helped start up too, like doing the web design and the branding, I'm helping them figure out and coaching them through an email system, right? And a welcome series and just all these other little aspects because it is a part, they all fit together, I think is
yeah,
and that's why I don't just do SEO or I don't just do web
yeah.
design because to me everything is so interconnected.
Yeah.
it's hard for me to just like put the tunnel vision of one
Yeah.
specific topic because it's all related.
And I know that what we do is very different. Like our industry and your industry is very, very different, but it is similar in the fact that we don't just put tunnel vision on as
Yeah.
well and say, like, we're just going to show up to your birth and just support you for your birth. And then we're out of here. And then you have to go here for lactation. You have to go here for postpartum doulas. You have to go here for childbirth ed. Because the whole purpose behind that was that's overwhelming. How do we make motherhood less overwhelming for these families? And that's what's been so great too, is that it's not like, okay, here's your blog post, now it's SEO optimized, but or like, here's your website, it's beautiful, but nobody can find you. And then all of a sudden, as a business owner, I'm like, I have to hire this person, I have to hire that
Yeah.
person. And then that's too overwhelming. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't afford that. Like, I'm going to throw the towel in and now just keep doing it on my own. You literally, like, it's been years where I feel like I have found somebody where I'm like, I just want to keep working with you. Whereas most of the time, I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay that invoice and I'm going to like move on. So,
Yeah.
ah,
No,
it's
that's
been
a
a
very good
blessing.
at you're right. I mean, your business is the same way, right? Where
Yep.
you're trying to and I think it's so funny because I got connected with, you know, prenatal yoga people and you and all these like birth resources after I had my child. I'm
I
like, I didn't even
know.
know doulas existed when I was pregnant.
I know.
I wish I would have had it just even for I was so unprepared. I mean, I had 3-minute apart contractions for over 24 hours before I was even allowed an epidural because I wasn't progressing,
Yeah.
and I was
Oh,
not
wow.
prepared for that.
No. And that's the thing. Like, sometimes we either don't know anything or we only know, like, parts
I
of
thought when the
labor.
pain started, you got an epidural.
I bet. Yes. And so you're not alone in that. And I wish I wish we would have met prior to as well. But that's another cool thing too. I feel like even though yes, you're done having children, but it's cool too to hear your perspective because sometimes I assume like people know this. Like I've been
Oh,
doing this for 10 years and you're like, no, people don't know that. And I'm like, you're right. Like just because it's in my daily conversations or like I'm talking to my clients like that, if we're trying to reach people who might not have a doula or might not be hiring a doula, we have to be able to reach them and to touch them and like, have that perspective as somebody who's just coming to a site, as a mom who's brand new. And so it's nice too. Sometimes Julie will be like, this doesn't make sense. And I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't make sense? It totally makes sense. And you're like, not from somebody who doesn't know what the heck you're talking about. And I'm like, you're
I was
right.
like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. So that's been super helpful too. There's so many different areas. It's just been and I can't believe we're just now doing a podcast, but
Well, I
we've
know.
been busy.
It's long overdue for
Yeah,
sure.
we've been busy.
So, I wanna wrap this up, but it was even when you're saying about doula education, I had somebody in my DMs last week, I think, somebody I know personally that reached out to me and was like, "Well, I know you do SEO, so that means social media management, right?" And I
Mm,
was like, I have
no.
some work to do still on educating."
Yep, yep,
So for those listening, SEO is not social media management. It is helping you get found on Google. And
yep,
I say Google as an all-encompassing term because nowadays that is also going to mean AI. Uh, and there are a lot of I'm going to go on a little soapbox here, but there's a lot of companies already marketing. I'm going to help you get found on ChatGPT. Well, guess what? It's actually the same fundamentals as SEO.
mm,
It's yes, they're marketing it differently as far as like it's flashier to say I'm going to help you get found on a ChatGPT, but good SEO is good SEO regardless of the search engine, and that includes AI.
yeah,
So it is still relevant, even if people will see less clicks through to their websites. Everyone will, every industry, every person. But if you're continuing to build good content, valuable content, and your own spin on it too, so it's not just informational like a dictionary, then you will still get traffic. And so it is going to still be important regardless.
yeah,
The amount of even I even tell my massage therapist web design clients like if you could just blog once a month, and obviously they hate hearing that,
yeah,
but think of any words you use in your blogs are words that Google now has a chance of finding you for.
yeah,
And I mean, again, the precipitous birth, which again, I've never heard that term, but apparently
Yeah.
people search for it, is a
Yep.
blog that popped off because you had written about what that is and
Yep.
whatever. And I mean, it's getting a huge amount of traffic and I've never even heard it, but
Yeah.
that's not a word you use on your core servicing pages, right? You're
Right.
getting traffic specific to because of your blog. And then obviously we're going to turn that into other traffic. But yeah,
Exactly. I know it's really cool. It's like this big web and then it's all interconnected and it's the interweb.
yeah.
Yeah.
So whether you're full on scaling or side hustling, here's the truth. You don't have to figure it out all by yourself. Working with Stephanie over the past year has been such a reminder of what's possible when you let somebody in. And I'm guilty of it myself, but I now have a VA as well for social media,
Mhm.
not just to design something, but to fix something or walk alongside your growth. If you're listening to this and thinking, wow, I didn't even know support like this existed, I encourage you to consider it. I mentioned I have an international VA now that helps me with Pinterest scheduling and social media content and editing blogs like this because, again, I can't do it all either, even as a side hustler.
Yeah.
And so find your circle, hold them close. I don't do retainer for everyone, but if you are interested, you can head over to wow, I should know my own website, bywdesigns.com and submit an inquiry form on like my contact page. Again, I don't even have a services page for this, but I am open to it. I am going to be pulling back my Pinterest services in the near future and would prefer work like this instead. So your business deserves support. That feels like a sigh of relief, and
Oh,
you deserve to build it in your way.
yes, that's exactly what it is. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Being Better Everyday podcast. Thank you for listening. I truly appreciate each listener. If you've enjoyed the conversation, I'd love if you would leave a rating and review or share it with your bestie to help me reach more women looking to ask the hard questions and live above that status quo. To see any visuals, head over to my YouTube channel. Links, socials, and resources mentioned can be found in today's show notes. If you're looking for more, you can find me on Instagram at julie.pwdesigns, sharing the behind the scenes of my everyday life as a millennial mom, corporate girly, and small business owner. Until next time, keep on taking one step at a time towards your version of being better every day.